Have y'all ever seen that film called Point Break? This is that, but with cars.
This is the intro, bitch. So just watch my shit.
And that's what I'm talking about today, The Fast and the Furious. I firmly do believe that this film is essentially Point Break, but with cars. A lot of people say, no, it's not that way because the bad guy doesn't die at the end. It doesn't have to follow every single goddamn plot point to essentially be a remake or copying the same movie. I think Days of Thunder and Top Gun are the same movie. But enough about Point Break. Let's talk about Point Break with cars. Point Break with Cars came out June 22nd, 2001. I was 8 years old. The Twin Towers were still in the sky. Life was good. Who stars in Point Break with Cars? Our first star of Point Break with Cars is Paul Walker as Brian O'Connor, an undercover LA cop who is tasked with taking down some robbers who are robbing truckers who take their TVs and DVD players. The next star of Point Break with Cars is kind of the co-lead to the franchise, is Vin Diesel as Dominic Toretto, the guy who leads the gang of thieves that are stealing TVs and DVD players. A few people that are important for this review are not going to get their actors credited because I don't care about them as much, but they need to be talked about in this review so you get some context for who they are. We have Mia, the love interest of Brian. We have Vince, Dom's best friend. We have Jesse, the ADHD guy. And we got Johnny Tran, the red herring. So what happens in this movie? This is a very 2001 movie. Like, if you think about movies that came out in 2001, you had to be like, that's a 2001 movie. This is a 2001 movie. From the way everyone acts, to the soundtrack. Holy shit, the soundtrack. I love the soundtrack to this movie. To the simple story. It is a very 2001 movie. As we go on in this series, people say like, oh, they got really cheesy. And a lot of people are like, hey, this started in the fourth one. No, it started here. A lot of you are gonna be like, what? Really? Hell. Watch the fucking movie again. I swear to you, these movies are cheesy as fuck right from the start. So again, Brian is tasked with taking down a group of people who are robbing truckers. The cops think it's Dom because back in the day, Dom beat up a dude with a wrench. He fucked him up so bad that he's kind of retarded and has to take the bus to work because he works at a school. We find out later, an actually really good emotional scene, that that dude is the guy that crashed Dom's dad and killed his dad. And when he saw him again, he just couldn't help himself and beat the shit out of the guy. Granted, none of my parents are dead. I don't know anyone that has been killed, but I do believe if I know someone that has been killed and I saw the person that killed them just kind of walking around, I probably would go up to them and beat the shit out of them. I'm not saying I'm a good person. I'm just saying that I don't have the mental fortitude to be like, yeah, I'll just let them go. And in order to get close to Dom, Brian goes to that shop I mentioned earlier and orders the tuna with no crust. No one likes tuna. Anyone who likes tuna sandwiches is probably a murderer. It is in that scene where we are introduced to our main characters of Dom, Brian, Mia, Letty, Vince, who acts like a jealous ex-girlfriend all the fucking time. Brian and Vince get into a scrap because Vince is hot for Mia and takes offense to Brian being there, kind of shoves him and calls him a faggot.
Try Fat Burger from now on. You get yourself a double cheese with fries for $2.95, faggot.
And then Dom goes out there with his impossibly deep voice and vague ethnicity and breaks up the fight.
Hey man, he was in my face. I'm in your face.
Later that night, Brian goes to a race and tries to race Dom for pinks. He fucking loses, so Dom has his car. But before he can hand over his car, the cops show up. Dom runs, parks his car, tries to walk away. The cops see him walking. They try to arrest him. Brian comes in and saves his ass to try and save his car. He doesn't save his car. Johnny Tran does find them and blows up their car. So now Brian owes Dom a 10-second car. So Brian finds something in a junkyard, brings it to Dom's garage, and they fix it up for Race Wars. What is Race Wars? They don't tell you. I don't know, but it is something I would love to be a spectator at. While getting close to Dom, the cops are pressuring Brian to make an arrest on someone. Well, they move on Johnny Tran. Bad idea, because Tran bought all those DVD players legally. So that does ensure that Dom is the guy that the cops are looking for. Well, shit. At Race Wars, Jesse rakes Johnny for pinks, loses his car, and runs away. Why do I mention that? Because it's important later. Well, at this point, Dom runs off in the night while everyone's partying at Race Wars to make another heist. And since Brian has 36 hours to make an arrest, he blows his cover with Mia to find out where the fuck Dom is going. At this point, truckers have shotguns, so when Vince jumps onto the trucker's truck, he gets shot at with a shotgun. While trying to get Vince back into Dom's car, the harness that Vince is attached to gets wrapped around his arm and like digs into him. So he's stuck to this truck, being shot at by a trucker with a shotgun while Dom tries to get him off the truck. At this point, the heist is up. We just need to get Vince back. Luckily, our boy Brian shows up and does this crazy stunt that they actually did in real life. There are points where you can see the harness on Paul Walker, which is kind of funny. But he did jump from a car onto a moving truck and then did the whole thing where he jumps off the truck onto the car. He actually did that shit. They gotta either save Vince's life or let him die. So Brian gets on the phone, calls for medevac for Vince. Dom runs and Brian follows after him. There's a standoff in the front of Dom's house. In the middle of the argument, Tran shows up and kills Jesse. Brian and Dom both go after them. Brian eventually kills Johnny Tran. After that whole thing's over, Dom and Brian race each other. Dom's car flips. You hear the sirens coming, you think Dom is fucked. Brian's like, hey man, I owe you a 10-second car. Here's my keys. And then he walks away. Presumably to Miami, because that's where the next movie takes place. Do I like this movie? Yeah, I actually love this movie. It's cheesy, it's fun, the action is thrilling, and the story is good without being too simple. All around a great movie, and I will say that The Fast and the Furious is good enough.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was good.